What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Fuse AMA session. Thanks for joining us today. And please don't forget to like, share, and smash the subscribe buttons. Hit all of them at the same time. In this show, we've got the founder of Unmarshall with us today. So this is Manohar, and he's here with us to talk about our recent developments for Unmarshall and a recent partnership with the Fuse network. So how are you doing today, Manohar? You good?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just back from a bit of a family celebration. It's a festival, Indian festival called Dasara, and I would like to wish everyone happy Dasara, and may all your like families and friends be blessed by the God.
Thanks, man. That's like I'll send that message to my dad. I'm sure he'll be really keen to get that as well. So yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. So that must be pretty cool. So you've had a really super busy week, and
Yeah.
but now you're joining us here today to talk about Unmarshall and everything that's been going on. So I mean, the first thing I want to do, Manohar, is in these chats, I like to get an idea of who I'm speaking to and who it is that's sort of at the top of Unmarshall and running the company. So tell us about yourself, man. Like, how did you end up in blockchain? Like, how did you end up in this world? And how did it lead you to Unmarshall? Like, how did you come up with this idea? Tell us more, man.
Yeah, sure. So, I think like a bit about me. Being a software engineer for 8 plus years, kind of
Hmm.
like one thing I like is to give myself a bigger challenge every once in a while, right? So I kind of started with a consulting firm in India, and then kind of moved to a bigger product based company, and then to another country. Like I moved to Singapore for a grab. And
Okay.
then while working there, I think 2019 20, I think it gave a lot of people a lot of time to think about and what they want to do with their lives. I
Yeah.
think like COVID hit, and before that I was actually kind of consulting with a lot of blockchain companies. But I have good background in computer science, and then kind of was good with designing backend services and architecting solutions that can scale, because
Yeah.
the products I worked on, Gojek and Grab, they were built for like millions of people, and like billions of requests coming through our services every
Okay.
hour, right? So that was the kind of scale I was working on, and I was happy to share that knowledge and architect certain solutions for people who were in blockchain space already. So I kind of came from development perspective into Web3 rather than investment
Yeah.
perspective. So kind of really liked what like the way it's gonna change the tech industry, and that kind of huge piles of things to build in Web3. And in general, I think there are two phases for anything, right? Like one is the business side and the traction side. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people were getting into a block like Web3 or crypto and in general, but the development of tools also needs to be right up there to sustain the growth that the crypto was giving into blockchain space. So I think it all felt good, and then as I told you, I think COVID also gave a time for us to think and like what we want to become in our lives. And for me, I think like I wanted to build great products, so and then that can help people, right?
Yeah.
It's around developers, like when we work on uh, making the whole Web3 expedite faster, and solving the problem for people who are coming up with crazy ideas to decentralize the money, to decentralize the economy. I think that gave us a head start to start Unmarshall. So our
Mhm.
focus was very clear. We've built some amazing solutions, amazing products, and services in our previous jobs, and we had everything at our disposal for every tool for every task, right? But when it comes to Web3, people were it's more like building a wooden boat versus building a rocket ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we wanted to make sure that development experience for Web3 is as smooth as what we were used to. Especially if you worked and in companies that has like more than 10,000 engineers, then you get to know like what is the legacy of
Yeah. Yeah.
tools and services available, and that's what we want to build bring it into Web3, since it's all starting. So we started with just indexing, and later keep going into more tools that helps people, kind of helps people build faster. Yeah.
Nice. That's a really interesting journey as well. Like you sometimes hear people say, "Oh, I came for the investment and stayed for the tech," or "I came for the tech and stayed for the investment," but you came for the tech and stayed for the tech. I like that a lot. Like you came in and saw what was good and how you could and how it could solve problems. So I really like that as well. And a good point you make as well. There are a lot of crazy ideas out there in the crypto world. Like people are very inventive in this space, and that requires a lot of technological support. I think that people don't quite understand sometimes, right? It's ideas are just ideas. We have to deliver them, right? So it's
Yeah.
interesting. All right, thanks, man. Thank you for kind of telling us about where you've come from. It's a really interesting background. It makes a lot of sense as to why you've kicked off with Unmarshall as well. One thing I wanted to ask you about, because I know you're over there in India right now. So what's the scene? What's the scene like in India? What's the sentiment towards crypto, DeFi? Do you think the government are going to have their own CBDC? We've heard some rumors of this. Like, what's the vibe over there, Manohar? Tell us more, man.
Yeah, I think, so. There are like always two parts to it, right? Like one, people interested about investing and then like adopting crypto, and then the second thing is always about developing. For I think India was always been a place with the talent, especially in terms of tech.
Yeah,
Right, so when we I think like when we talk about like 20-30 years ago, it was all about services companies, right? Like where you build software for American companies or
yeah.
Western companies in general.
It
And
was
then
all
the
shipped
next
away,
generation,
right?
yeah,
It was all, yeah,
yeah,
it was
that's
all.
where you
Yeah,
see, yeah, in Infosys and Wipros, TCSs of India, like which
mhm,
has like crazy number of software engineers working for others. And then the second wave came when the Flipkarts and other companies, like product companies, started in India and started working on, and that they had like a lot more tougher environment to build. But now I think like India has both resources as well as investors and the money to take that such, and also will in the people to start such products. I think Web3 development India is crazy, and it's been kind of in a space like where you speak to everyone as building something or the other, and they are building for the world. So
not
the
just for the Indian.
development and
Yeah,
entrepreneurs space in India has been kind of buzzing. And we had like few events I attended and spoke in couple of events by AWS and Intel,
nice.
and there I think the environment was super awesome. And we are also blessed with a lot of pioneers in this space who are kind of not only showed us how to do it from leading from the front, but
Hmm.
also supporting and like leading their hands for people behind them to come with them. I think I can't kind of mention Sandeep Nelwal enough in any conversation about the direction he's giving in terms of building from India and building it for the world. And as far as I think like the other side is concerned, there are like still mixed signals about it. But like as a Supreme Court ruled, like they want to adopt crypto as
Yeah,
one of the these things, and government is trying to figure out like whether to leave it for private entities or to
yeah.
get one from the government itself. So that's there as far as crypto is concerned. But like a lot of adoption, and recently there were some tax rules regulations discount. So
I
it's
saw
all in the
that.
positive. Yeah, it's all in the positiveness because government is seeing to regulate it in a way where it's there, which is against like 3-4 years ago, which where government wanted to ban these
Yeah,
things completely. But now they are like trying to put their tax regulations, and which is expected,
yeah,
and then kind of
yeah,
see it positively. And blockchain itself is seeing a lot of applications within the government itself. Like there are like couple of state governments who are adopting blockchain for their vaccine distributions and other solutions, which gives me a lot of hope. I think like for like as a blockchain developer, and I think crypto will slowly kind of get kind of get more and more push. I think there are a lot of consumers in India.
Yeah.
They have which has knowledge and like kind of will to work with these things. So we'll see positive impact more and more as we go.
So awesome. Thank you so much, Manohar, for kind of filling everybody. It's very difficult sometimes for people to know what's going on in different places around the world, right? Like we hear a lot of stories and things, but that's a really good kind of overall view of what's happening in India. I couldn't agree more. You've got such a large amount of technological talent there, just waiting to be activated almost, as the way I see it as well. You've got all these Web 2 developers who are so keen to jump into Web 3. And
Yeah,
also, I guess as well with India, English language is probably quite a helpful part of everything in terms
yeah,
of development, marketing, understanding, education. It's kind of good for you guys as well, right? So nice. I mean, it sounds like it always sounds like regulators are playing catch up. They're
yeah.
about 3 to 4 years behind the rest of us, usually it feels, right? So everywhere we go, they're just kind of following, but they're a bit slow. So either we need to slow down or they need to speed up, right? Or maybe we can
I
come in
think
the
like yeah, no one should slow up at this.
no, I don't think so either. All right, cool. So thanks, man. You've like given us a nice little an entry there as well. But it's time to talk about Unmarshall a bit more. Tell us, like, so imagine you've just bumped into me in the street. You've got a T-shirt on that says Unmarshall, and I'm like, "Hey, Manohar, what do you do? What's your daily life all about?" Tell us, man. What is Unmarshall? What can it do? Who does it help? Who's it positioned towards? And yeah, tell us more, man.
Yeah, sure. So about Unmarshall, I think Unmarshall is here to make people's life easier while working at blockchain tech, right? So it
Mhm.
gives you like kind of two major pushes. One at developer experience, also kind of exposure to the data that's available on blockchain.
Mhm.
Like imagine someone who came to you and said, "Hey, I know like what people are transacting in public blockchains, and then you can build
Sure.
things on top of it, etc." Right? Like, it's more like knowing the data of everyone's. I mean, like obviously with anonymization, it's more
Yeah.
around anonymized data that you can extract insights and you can build a better like kind of one view for blockchain data. I think that's what Unmarshall is doing. It has like plenty of services and tools to retrieve data from blockchain and build things on top of it. Like pretty much everyone who works in blockchain space needs data in one way the other way, right? Like if you're
Yeah.
talking about wallets or explorers, they need data about like what are the wallet holdings, wallet balances, transactions,
Yeah. Yeah.
profit and loss, and taxation, etc. So data is consumed from that way. But if you are looking talking to dapps who are in this space, so they need data for the smart contracts they are writing. It's more like everyone is going and dumping data into blockchain, like a huge ocean as blockchain, and
Yeah.
we are here to streamline it and enhance it to make sense. And kind of it's all encrypted, and it's all in a way not people can directly understand. So we run this data through various of our data pipelines to make sense of that data. So we kind of give like convert a bunch of hashes and hexadecimals into meaningful sentences about, hey, this is the transaction. It means you kind of swapped between two tokens, or you sent your tokens to someone else, etc. So this is what we do, and we have multiple services. One to view the holistic approach of the view of the data, how many wallets are there in the blockchain, and how
Yeah.
many transactions, what is the volume, etc. And the second one is, which is very useful for blockchain developers, we recently built it, called Parser. It's a way for people to extract data without writing any code for
Yeah, I
their.
saw I saw this on the site, and the bit that really grabbed me obviously was no code. So I was thinking, okay, cool. Tell me about this because this sounds. I mean, what we're talking about here is making life easy for DApp developers, right? So it's kind of being able to drag and drop and just build applications very quickly and easily as well by calling data. But how did you? Yeah, how is Parser working with no code? Can like an idiot like me potentially use it, Manohar?
Yes, I mean, like if you know, like a smart contract, right? Let's say
Mhm.
you are interested in looking at Uniswap's data or a PancakeSwap's data, right? You
Yeah.
just take the smart contract address and put it in a simple user interface, and then
Completely.
it gives you, yeah, and then from there it walks you through, holding your hand about like, hey, what kind of data do you want? Do you want price included in it? Do you want more details about token names, description,
Yeah.
etc. with it? And then like once you click it, it kind of gives you a basic view of the data, which is around the transactions, the events, the users that are being flowing up, etc.
Yeah.
And if you want to go deeper, it kind of gives you a SQL database of all your blockchain data for this smart contract address. So from there, it's like as seamless as building a Web3, Web2 application. You don't have to worry about indexing. You don't have to worry about understanding how blockchain stores the data. It's all a SQL
Interesting.
database for you to just work around it. So that's what
Wow.
we feel like it's making people's life much more easier. And then you don't need to write a code as required at graph, the graph or other indexing solutions are concerned.
That's pretty amazing. Like in the way that, yeah, I can see it. The way that I'm seeing it is like you've got all these blockchains pumping out a huge amount of data. So you've got
Yeah.
this sort of, let's say, there's a funnel at the top.
Mm,
Actually, you guys have an image, I think. There it is.
yeah.
This one, Manohar.
Yeah.
This, I think, does a better, like a nice visual job of trying to explain this a little bit. So you've got all this data coming out of these networks, and it's
Mhm.
all just raw and unfiltered and doesn't make any sense. It needs to be filtered properly and then sent through to, and the crux of everything here we're talking about is the applications. The applications pull the data, but then
Mhm.
we, the users, need to be able to work with that as well. So raw data charts, they're probably quite interesting for DeFi dApps when you've got things like Uniswap, they run
Mhm.
analytics dashboards. So that's kind of similar to what you guys are doing, right? But then
Yeah.
other things are a bit more simplistic, a bit more user focused, right? So for example, talking about calling prices, can Unmarshall, for example, can you build a wallet with Unmarshall, a simplistic kind of wallet, or do you feed the how can that work in regards to kind of feeding price data into simple consumer products? Like is that something that Unmarshall does?
Yes, yes. I think like we currently support close to 1,500 products, not people, right? Like, so pretty much like if you say there are like 10,000 products in Web3 already, I think like we support at least 15% of them
Wow.
with our data. And if you're building a wallet, I think you don't need to look further than just using Unmarshal and building user interface. And
Yeah.
it's not for a simple wallet, but it's a very sophisticated wallet where we'll give you things for like wallet balances, transactions, what is the price of a particular token, what is the 24-hour change of a token, and
Nice.
then how many other people hold this token, who are the biggest holders of this token,
Hmm.
and how often it gets traded. So you get a pretty detailed and like pretty huge information about things you need to build a wallet. And I'm not sure like if it is for consumers, but like generally if you are a developer listening, you don't need anything, any backend at all. Like we give you APIs, we give you notifications, and we give you data streams to keep the price updated every second. So you don't have to look any further if you're building a wallet.
That's really cool. And obviously building on Fuse as well. Like the two. So recently we gave Unmarshall a grant to index the Fuse blockchain, right? So that's kind of brought the two companies closer together. But we have a very similar objective, I think, Manohar, in terms of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make things easier. By making things easier for developers, it allows them to make things easier for end users, right? Like you're
Yes.
saying that of the 10,000 applications, maybe 1,000 of them are being serviced by a Marshall, but then end user wise, that could be up to 1 million people getting
Yeah.
benefit from a Marshall services, right? So
Yeah,
in
I think
line
like
with
one of our
yeah,
biggest portfolio company has like 10,000 downloads of that, like 10 million downloads of their wallet. So like we are reaching to like
nice.
millions of people with just one client. And then I think it's pretty same. And like we work with other people like Folga Starter, and like we recently
Mhm.
working with Big Swap, where I think there are like the more than million users for just like single product. So I think like you don't see us directly, but if
Yeah,
you are, I think, in future, I think probably within a year, if you are using any major blockchain application or any crypto application, I think you may find Unmarshall, at least just one API of
yeah.
Unmarshall. Yeah, that's the level I think like the infrastructure projects are playing.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like as an end user, you may not know that you're interacting with Unmarshall. You may not know that's what's happening, but yeah, it's a more business to business focus for you guys, right? Where you're working with developers to integrate the tech to then serve the users as well. So, all right, cool. So obviously, different data requires probably throws up different challenges for you guys as well. But one of the things you mentioned there was notifications, and I found that really interesting. That we're moving forward with DeFi, we're moving forward with apps on the blockchain, and notifications appear to me to be a really important part of this. That the way that social media works, for example, is pulled around notifications, and I can see more social trading. Do you see this as the kind of, do you think people will start building dApps with more social elements inside and really tapping into those notifications, Manohar? Do you think we'll see this in the next few years?
Yes, yes. I think it's already kind of happening, but
Mm.
I think it'll get major push. So our intention was clear, right? Like the new age applications, we want to build everything that's required for building a rocket ship. So you need pretty much everything that a decent Web 2 application would have. It's more
Yeah,
around streaming the data and not keep calling APIs, and it's about keeping users up to date with notifications. You don't have to wait for a whole transaction to get complete for like 3-4 minutes,
yeah,
or if it is a sophisticated one, I think might take more than that. And you don't have to keep waiting for gas prices to fall down, or you don't have to keep waiting or looking at a tab to look at the congestion of network and see when it will go through. So that's where we wanted to start with notifications. It's about having the same data being served, being served in a different formats. So notifications, like actually it plays a huge role in building kind of customer aware centric products, as
yeah.
well as social elements as well. I think we are in a space, I think like we recently released a product called DeFi on in Xscan. Xscan
Hmm.
is a multi-chain explorer that we built. So where you get to see where people are, what people are doing with a particular token. So
Yeah,
what other ethereum holders are doing, what other fuse holders are doing, in terms of staking it, in terms of lending it, like what
yeah,
are the yeah, what are the protocols that provides option for utilities for a particular token, right? So that's kind of triggered a bit of social like trading or social like kind of sharing what people are doing with a particular token.
yeah,
So definitely I think like we see this happening, and we are providing building as many tools as possible to build this. And then as like one more side note to developers, if you want to know what are the utilities or what are the earning options of a particular token, you can just use Unmarshall and make like applications much more useful. And we are also working on kind of engineering the data that we are gathering for you from users to make their life much more easier by kind of, if you just giving enough information about users, people can build some more user centric applications, right? Like if you
yeah.
are an advanced user of NFT versus if you don't even know about NFT, you shouldn't be seeing the same screen, right? Like
Correct.
if you are a like new user, you should be given enough tool tips, enough information about what this product or what this space is in general, right?
Yeah,
And whereas if you are a more advanced user, you should get more and more deeper insights, more and more useful insights to make your decisions better. So in that way, I think Unmarshall is coming up with some sort of wallet scoring or wallet profile a feature where like given a wallet, like how advanced they are, what is the score, like if whether they know about NFTs, whether they know about like AMMs, automated market makers, like such as Uniswap, PancakeSwap, if they are interacted, if they have lent to anyone using a decentralized lender, like such as Aware or
Yeah,
Compound,
yeah.
etc.
And then you can figure out their kind of not intelligence, but you can figure out their education levels in regards to where they're at. So
Yeah.
that's pretty special. That's like a two-way journey of data there then, right? So you're not only just feeding applications with what they need, but you're
Mhm.
collecting information from your customer base to see how they act and what they do, and
Yeah.
then how you can tailor their experiences better. I can see some pretty amazing applications being born off the back of Unmarshall solutions, to be honest, Manohar. Like pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, and then one greatest thing about it is like you don't have to track any user about their whereabouts, like actual user. You are just like getting data from
Yeah,
public blockchain, right? You are not even like talking to any application. For example, we recently did one like project with router protocol. We didn't ask them anything. We didn't even ask them access to their applications. We just like took the data from the blockchain, and we were able to tell like a lot more granular details, how users are, how often users are coming back to their applications, and how
nice.
often like you a wallet trades multiple times in a day. So they're like pretty interesting insights about the
Super.
data getting from blockchain.
Super interesting. And also, just from a kind of simplistic level for Fuse, it's massively beneficial for us to have access to this type of information as well across our ecosystem to see what our
Yeah.
dApps are doing, to see who's moving. And as you said, I find that interesting too. Token movement. How do people interact with their tokens? Where do they take them? What do they do with them? What's their
Hmm.
preference? Do they swap to B and B? You know, these sort of, I find that all very fascinating. And I think for DeFi dApps to have that information would be incredibly granular and really quite special as well. All right, Manohar. So we're kind of getting towards the end of this session. So I think we've done a really good job of outlining what Unmarshall does and what it can do, and that it's geared up to help developers of dApps. But what blockchains are you pulling data from? I went on the website. I see Ethereum, I see Polygon, and I see BNB. But then I also saw logos for Solana, Nia, and Polkadot, which are technologically quite tricky as far as my developers tell me. So tell me more, man. Like, which networks are you able to pull data from? What's your capabilities with each blockchain, as it were?
Yeah. So as of today, I think like we support close to 40 different blockchains, both mainnet and then testnet. So our job is to, we believe in a multi-chain future, and there's no one winner in this space, right? Like everyone has their capabilities and different strong points. So we are building towards a multi-chain world, and Unmarshall believes so. So we are eager to work with as many blockchains as possible. I mean, like ultimately all of that makes the developers life much more easier,
Yeah,
right? So so that is the intention, and like we support both EVM and non EVM chains. So from EVM, there's like recently we worked with Clayton, Celo, and Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, and the Avalanche and Phantom, and like we have added a few more solutions as we are speaking. And then on the non EVM chain, non EVM chains such as Solana,
mm,
um, and we recently did with Cadena as well. So there are a lot of chains, and like Algorand was the first one we indexed. So we provide data from both, and like we are very proud to have a engineering talent that can pull up any challenge. And
yeah,
uh, we've designed indexes in such a way that it at the output level it gives the same granularity and same level of details. At the inner side, like we deploy close to 60 different services. It's a microservice architecture, so we kind of play with like a lot of these services to pull data from individual chains
yeah.
and harness it and make it more granular for people to consume. So
That's
any chain we consume, we give the same services, right? Like it's around APIs, notifications, and streams. Parser is one biggest addition that we were talking about. I think it'll, like as time go, I think it'll be the one of the biggest gift to Web3 world from us. So I like totally believe in it, and then like kind of pushing more towards it.
definitely, man. Like that's how I see it, as a gift to developers as well. It's a really good way to put it. Like you're literally making their lives easier, and
Yeah.
I'm really hoping. Do you think, as a kind of question, like, do you think this will help Web 2 developers get involved with Web 3? Do you think that
Yeah.
this will
And
be more appealing to them. They'll see similarities with what they understand, and they'll be able to. Do you think it's going to accelerate adoption a little bit
yeah,
worldwide?
yeah. I think that was one of the biggest reasons that we designed Parser in a way it has
Yeah.
been designed. So we are keeping things simple. It's more like a no code solution. You come in, like plug and play, and it kind of goes as you want it to use, and it uses all the tools that you are like Web2 developer are used to. That for data visualizers, we have Tableau, Metabase, and other application plugins to look at the data, and we are building this as a backend as a service, so any a user who comes in don't have to write any backend line of code for backend, right? Like one, you look at the monitoring of a smart contract, how if there's any event that's failing, any transaction that's failing because of whatever the reason,
Yeah.
and is there and then like it allows you to send notifications to users without writing code, like, and all of this as a no code solution. And
Oh,
Unmarshall is also working on a SDK that you can directly integrate with the front end, so you don't even have to worry about the APIs. It's a pretty exciting roadmap we have for Parser. And yeah, I think hopefully we'll bring a lot more web to users, because they are used to all these tools, and then they know the value of these kind of tools, so it's pretty
yeah.
exciting.
That's awesome. Like it's really it's great to hear that from my side, like that people, the developers will have an easier route to market as such, because arguably blockchains are blockchains, but dApps are what are really going to put us on the map and give. It's like mobile phones like 15 years ago, right? They were fairly useless. You couldn't really do anything with it
Yeah.
until apps came along, and then they became massively more functional and useful, right? So I'm excited, Manohar. Like I think we're getting closer to this stage. But all right, cool. How can people get in touch with you guys? So there might be a bunch of people out there that have watched this and they're like, oh wow, I can just go and start building Web3 applications. I need to speak to Manohar. How can people get in touch with you? What's the best routes? Is it Twitter, Discord? Tell people more.
Yeah, I think like it's every anyway, right? Like we have Telegram,
Mhm.
we have Discord, and we have Twitter. I'll be available at that. I think like you can reach out to me personally as well. I used to be more active on Telegram, but now like a bit less active. But like I think that like our team people are there, like they're happy to
Yeah.
answer any question. So if you're a developer, I think Discord would be a better place than Telegram. But I think like we are social, and we are available in a lot more places. And yeah, and I'm happy to kind of like talk to more and more people. I think last few weeks have been pretty eventful. Like we were in Token 49 in Singapore.
Yeah.
We spoke at Clayton event. I later spoke on Filecoin event. So it was pretty exciting, like
Getting
couple of
busy.
weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, but our team should be able to kind of answer more and more people.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
though. It sounds like you've been out there on the streets, as it were, kind of
yeah,
shouting about Unmarshall, getting people excited, getting people interested, and now they're understanding and starting to come in. You're going to have a busy year next year, I think, Manohar. I think things are going to
yeah.
start going well, right? So for developers in the Fuse ecosystem, what this means is that they can tap into Marshall solutions. So this is a great thing for Fuse app builders. Yeah, and you can find out more about that by just heading on to fuse.io, and then all the links for everything will be in the description of the video. So, Manohar, thank you so much for joining me today, man. Is there anything else you want to get out there? Any other alpha, maybe something exciting you want to drop out before we end the stream, or maybe just say thank you?
Yeah, I think like we've been discussing, I think like few products that changes the way Web3 applications have been built. So a parser is the thing to look out for, and wherever we are showing parser, I think everyone is excited. So I think like it was a huge hit in the token 49 event as well. Like so great to see more positive feedback, and it just pumps us more to build
Yeah, yeah.
in a way. Like it's a lot more useful. So yeah, watch out for parser in the next few
Nice, man. It's
days. Yeah,
getting that feedback as well, isn't it, from the real world, and like seeing people get excited about your ideas and products, I think is we've missed it over the last few years, as you said, with events kind of trailing away. And I kind of love that real world stuff where you really get to interact with people and show them what it's all about. You know, it's all very easy to talk, but to show people, I think, is very
Yeah.
special. So awesome, man. So I wish you guys, and I wish Unmarshall the best of luck moving forward. And I think you've got a very bright future ahead. And I'm sure we'll speak again in a few months' time, and we'll see where we're at. But thank you very much for joining me today, man. I really appreciate that. For everyone who tuned in, I hope you learned something about Unmarshall. For developers out there in the blockchain ecosystem, whichever one, give Unmarshall a shout. They can help you, and the solutions are looking very good. So yeah, explore those solutions. All right. So from us, it's goodbye. You want to say goodbye, Manohar?
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone, and hopefully, we'll just keep seeing you in our Telegram and on our social. So
That's it.
just say hi. Yeah.
That's it. Say hi, give them a shout, learn more. That's the main thing. Learn more. It doesn't cost anything to educate yourself and learn more. So have a look, see what you think, and yeah, check it out. All right, guys, thank you very much. And we'll see you very soon. Have a great day.